So I heard probably one of the most amazing terms to explain the last 2+ years of my life. The person that I was talking to had said, the tyranny of the green light.
Oh, I know exactly what this is. Yeah. But I haven't heard this before, but I know exactly what you're talking about, which is Cormac's status is active.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
I learned very early on, because we had Microsoft Teams for all this stuff, that I would set it to do not disturb all the time.
Well, the thing about it is
not
that
100% of the time, but when I was working. But no, I'm not available.
But there are some times, and because of the purely remote nature that I've been living in,
you feel like you have to be available.
I feel like I have to be available. It's almost like proof. Oh, Cormac's here. He's working.
Ass in seat.
It's the digital ass in seat for sure.
Yes.
So I was having a conversation with the president of our company, and we were talking about things, and she kept asking, well, how am I doing? And a lot of times when the president of the company asks you how you're doing, most of the time people don't really tell them. They tell them what they think they want. What do they want to hear?
What's going to make them feel good when I feel so bad?
I'm known for my candidness, my honesty. I don't sugarcoat things. I mean, I look at people when they're like, when I was walking in the office, and people would look at me and they're like, "Hey, how are you doing?" They know that I'm working on a project that's somewhat challenging and
has a nice way to say
it. Somewhat challenging, and so they look at me and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, and I look back at them and I'm like, "Do you really want to know?"
You just have to throw a look.
I don't even. Well, I mean, I did them the courtesy of at least explaining. It's just like I throw them the look, of course, but then it's also the do you really want to know? And I give them the out. So they don't have to like really sit here and listen to whatever I'm about to say to them with brutal honesty.
This is going to take a while.
No. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, do you want to refill your coffee before we start? But the tyranny of the green light over the course of the last 2.5 years now, when people see that green light, whether it's the client, whether it's your coworkers, whether it is because we've set up a lot of like dialogue chains with our consultants and everything else. When they see that, they feel like I'm going to get that immediate answer from Cormac.
Yeah, it's not only that you're available and the doctor is in; it's that you will answer immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah, short leash.
Exactly, and then you have this exact short leash. Perfect way to explain it, because everybody is expecting it now. So now everybody is expecting this immediate answer. Now we're going back to the office where it's going to. All of it still takes time. The answer still takes time. It's just when people see that you're online, it's like, oh, I can get this answer now. I'm still going to need to give you a little bit of time, like to answer this. And where I would see someone online, I see the green light. I don't like call them up and say, hey, Evan, I saw that your light was green.
Because you have self-awareness, Cormac. Yeah, that's the difference.
Well, I also know that, it's that old golden rule, do unto others. I'm like, I'm not going to do to them what I don't want them to do to me. If I start calling, Evan up and like, hey, man, I saw that your light turned green. It's just like, dude, I just got back from, or I sat down.
Accidentally opened my laptop.
I accidentally bumped my mouse.
Right. The thing is, these people have been trained. We've all been trained or programmed, depending on how you want to talk about it, because it's not even just communication tools like this. It is the speed at which information now travels, which is instantly. If you want to know the answer to something, what do? You whip out your phone and you look it up. And this is what every kid does. We never had that, right, when we were kids, but now kids grew up with this tool. And so seriously, there is no even pontificating about what the answer could be. It's just, let's look it up. And whatever the first answer is the right answer. That's the answer I'm going to trust. And
True.
it's dangerous. All of this is dangerous.
Well, Google can't be wrong, right?
No, Wikipedia's never wrong. Google's never wrong. Even if it's the first thing is a Google related service that they're bumping, ahead of everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. And the tyranny is a good word. I mean, it's a little overused at this point, right? There's all of the tyrannies are happening right now. But the green light does rule a lot of people's lives and sets certain expectations that are really hard to overcome. And then what? Like, what happens when it comes to review time? Oh, you didn't answer my inquiries fast enough. Like you're just because there's an expectation that information travels at the speed of thought nowadays and instantly, right? That's what everyone's actually getting judged on as well. And if you accidentally leave your computer running and Outlook or Teams or Zoom or all three, and they all have that green light and it's Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about that before.
It's free reign. Well, but okay, so here's another thing. So I was reading a Washington Post article about employers tracking people and like what they're doing.
Various ways of tracking.
Quote
unquote productivity.
Exactly. They're like sneaking in. It's like, what are you doing? Are you searching the internet? Are you surfing Instagram or whatever? And it's just, it's another way. It's just like, okay, well, I see their green lights on, so apparently they're working. Or on the less sophisticated and the more sophisticated, it's just like, I've got something that's telling me exactly what you're doing. In the past hour, you were 25 minutes on Instagram. You were 10 minutes in Bluebeam. You were another 10 minutes in Revit. You were on this or that. You're not working.
Yeah, the whole tracking thing is kind of problematic. I saw something recently. Yeah. Of course, I didn't read it because I didn't have time, but it was just like that. I think it was an article posted by Daniel Davis, who's a researcher and in our industry, and he's talking about how that's just all that tracking is just going to totally backfire. Because you're talking about talent wars. You're talking about hiring the best people. Like the best people's best work comes in small doses spread throughout time, and is everybody doing exactly what you think they should be doing at every moment of the quote unquote workday? No, they're not. And because that's a normal person. That's why it is going to backfire. It's just going to create a morale issue and a fear issue where what are people going to do? They're just going to leave.
Well, and we've talked about this. It's like, okay, so you do have the remote worker. So like now I'm the remote worker, and not every minute of the day do I want to have my butt in seat, clicking away from 8:30 to 5 or 5:30 or whatever. I want to get up every once in a great while. I want to walk around. I want to maybe, yeah. And so there are going to be times where I'm going to walk away. And you know what? I guarantee you what's different about like me being a remote worker versus me being an office worker is you'll actually get that time back. I'll actually make sure that you get that time back. I don't know why, but I mean, I feel like, if I'm being paid for 8 hours a day, then I'll give you your 8 hours. It may be spread out. It might be, like 12 hours one day and, however many another day and however many another day.
Math is hard.
No maths. We're recording late. I have been subjugated to the tyranny of the green dot today. Because I've been on meetings literally the entire day.
Yeah.
My brain is
so those aren't green dots then. It's red dots.
Red.
But you do have to get into the habit of switching that. And what sucks is you kind of have to do it in a bunch of different places now because there are so many different communication apps going on. They're not synced together. They don't run on the same APIs or anything. So if you switch one in one place but don't switch it in the other, they're going to pick the most useful one for themselves to hit you up on. Yeah, but it becomes a management issue, and then it's like, what should you be spending your time doing that? I think one of the incongruent things here is that if you have a green light, you're interruptible during work hours. When what are you supposed to be doing? Like your job, not their job, right? We've always talked about email being someone else's to-do list for you, right? So if the inbox is constantly open and new emails are coming in and all these things need to be done, it's something somebody else wants from you, right? And we're no different. That's what we use email for too, right? We send emails to people, hey, get me this. And it used to not have that kind of instantaneous expectation, right? But now, like, because it's instant messaging, it has that expectation. Now, I don't mind disappointing people. And honestly, you are training them with how fast you respond. And if you allow it to interrupt the work that you are doing, guess who gets to decide that? You do, right? Of course, you're taking a lot of things into account. Who are they? What role are they? If it's the CEO, like, you probably take the call, right? Whereas if it's the senior project manager, you might get back to them when you're ready. So what I mean by training is like, it's like if you train everybody that you get back instantly, guess what? The expectation is you get back instantly all the time. So, I mean, these are all things that we never really had to think about before. I don't want to say before COVID, but before digital, right? Like, these are all the things that have come up since then.
Yeah, before we were like 100% like digital workforce,
instantly connected, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a good example. So I of the few times that I actually wasn't on a call today, I needed to get on a call to like talk to people about actually getting work done. And so
you're talking about the difference between like having a conversation about work versus being in a meeting that has no clear agenda.
Exactly.
No clear action. For your information, that's why you're invited. Yeah.
So I ping one of my team members and I asked her, I was like, hey, do you got about maybe 15 minutes to go over something? I'm trying to pull together a presentation. Some of it is related to the building that you're working on, and I kind of just want to walk through it and talk to you. She's like, yeah, absolutely, sure. So, I asked her for 15 minutes of her time. Because both of us were distracted and, other people were like pinging me, hey, Cormac, can you blah, blah, blah this or blah, blah, blah that, like, sure. So like there would be like these pauses where I'm like, hold on a minute. Let me just, and it's like, type away, I hear the same thing. And she's just a minute, I'm listening, but I'm going to have you repeat that because somebody just asked me a question.
Neither one of you are present in the conversation.
And neither one of us are present in the
conversation. That's another rampant
And
problem.
so that 15 minutes that really was just about 15 minutes worth of actual work ended up being about 37 minutes
of distracted work. Yeah, because you can't multitask. You cannot. And people think it's like some badge of honor that they think they can multitask, but your brain is totally incapable of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is what the research says. Like, you're just shifting priorities all the time, and there is a switching cost to go between those. Like, it's not like 100% on this task. Oh, something else has come up. I'm 100% on that one. No. And so each one of those is suffering now. One of them is suffering a lot more than the other. So it becomes incredibly difficult to manage all of this that's happening as well. So it's not just like actually doing the switching and thinking about this 100% of the time, then thinking about that 100% of the time. It's the time that it takes to go in between those and to set this down and to pick that up has a time and an effort and a reaction and all of these things associated with it, like an attention level. Man, it's complicated, and it's weird that we've kind of convinced ourselves that this works somehow.
And I've found that in some, it's just like, Cormac, can you set up a meeting with such and such and such and such? Like, sure, let me coordinate their times, let me figure out what's going on and all that other stuff. And sometimes, I'm in the middle of doing that, and somebody hasn't gotten back to me on what time they're available, so I put it off to the side. And then like an hour or two later, they're like, hey, did you set up that meeting? I'm like, damn it. Because,
you lost it. Yeah, you lost
it. Exactly. And so, again, like this conversation, I just wasn't focused, or, I was focused at that point, but then something else just, shiny red ball distracted me. And now I'm over here. Now I'm over there. Now I'm over there, so it's just like, geez, because the conversation that I was having with our company president was about how can we improve things, and it was not necessarily about the project, but it was some about the project, some about kind of like general, overall. And you and I have talked about this in the past, where there's a lot of tasks in a project that architects either aren't really suited to do or shouldn't really be doing them, not because it's beneath them or anything else. It's just, if they're going to bill you, let's just throw out a number, like if they're going to bill you for $200 an hour, I mean, are you really, should you be doing some of the tasks that could probably be done quicker, faster, and more efficient by somebody who actually knows how to do those tasks? And that's their job to do those tasks rather than you trying to do them, figuring it out, lumbering around, and all of this other stuff. And as we were talking about things like, project coordinators and stuff like that, I've worked with engineers who have project coordinators who are actually the ones who are let's just say the cat herder, between all the different like disciplines and all of the different emails and RFIs and everything else that goes around. And so they're really kind of like the one who's like helping manage the flow of information exchange. And I'm like, well, why don't architects, so I'm telling them, well, why don't architects have those? Because, we've got we have so many things that we're doing and we're juggling, and so many people have got so many different projects and all this other stuff. Like my examples that I was giving you, how do you stay like focused on getting your job done? Like, so if I'm on the clock for, my current project, then I should be focused on my current project. But if I'm having to be focused on so many different other things that, maybe don't really need my attention right now, but they do need attention, why don't we have project coordinators? I mean, one of the answers is because architects are control freaks. True.
I heard a new word for this. I'm going to look it up. So keep going. I'll interrupt you in a minute, but it's not control freak. It's something else, and it's awesome. Oh, here it is. Control enthusiast.
Control enthusiast. Well, I mean, freak might have a, kind of a negative connotation.
Negative connotation. Yeah.
But, still,
you can start using that.
We can control enthusiasts. Okay. I don't know if I'm really enthusiastic about some of the control I have to do.
I think we are. Love to hate it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's like, there's so many different things. So, it's like, then you go back to this conversation that you have about just staying present with, the task at hand. And because of so many different distractions, because the green light's there, shining bright for somebody to say, it's like, so say for instance, I've been trying to get in touch with you, but, your light's been on do not disturb for a while. And I'm working on something and I see, like bing, there's there's Evan. His light just weren't green. It's just like, now it's time to pounce on you.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm going to get him now.
Right. I've been waiting for this all day.
Haha, you can't run now.
Well, you asked this question, like, how do you do this? It's all about well, for me, it has tradition. This is an answer. It's not maybe the answer, just my experiences. Developing that routine where I get up before everybody else so that I get some me time, because the kids aren't asking what's for breakfast and nobody's bugging you. Right. And to me, like, I hate to say like, that's the time when you do work. Maybe it is. It depends. There's just so many, it depends here. But I read this recently on one of the Twitter accounts. I was checking Twitter while you were just telling that story, just so you know. Now, Ryan Holiday, he's an author. He's written books like The Obstacle is the Way, Ego is the Enemy, and he has a daily Stoic journal. And he did this tweet just the other day, one day ago, actually. Yeah. So it says, my morning routine: wake up around 6 a.m., 3-mile walk with the kids, journal for 15 minutes, write for 3 hours, don't eat before 10 a.m., and don't touch the phone for the first hour awake. And that your list could be anything, but what that list is to me is discipline, right? And it's a set of rules for yourself, so that other people aren't ruling your life. I almost said ruining, but I guess that works too. But it's that's when he gets his work done. And maybe, his life is he's the only person who could pull that off. I doubt it. Right. Like, and there's definitely times when you need to be at work with other people and able to answer their questions and do things. Right. But I think we probably have time in our life that we could set aside to be disciplined like that. Which means, maybe the apps aren't even open, so they don't have to be set to do not disturb and things like that, because you're not on call and you do need time to do deep work, not just be in a flurry of distraction doing all the things all the time all at once.
So I have my own personal issue with that is only the experience that I'm living now, is that I have a client that's 9 hours ahead, 8 hours ahead of me. And so by the time I actually wake up, they're almost finished with their day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's this certain time of overlap where you have to just jump into action because that's when they're there.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's, going to be times where they're going to need to talk to me, and they're going to reach out to me and, either wait for that green light to come on, or they're going to send countless emails through the middle of the night expecting me, first thing, to be able to at least open up, acknowledge that, I've received them and put them on my to-do list. Because you said that emails are somebody else's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Somebody else's to-do list. And that is exactly it.
Yeah. I don't think it works across the board all at once, right? You can't just start this tomorrow, but you can start it for a new project when that starts. When we were implementing new technology at HMC, it was we're going to implement it on a new project, not your current project, because switching to this new paradigm now is going to screw everything up. Obviously, there's a learning curve for this stuff. And I think what we're talking about here is kind of the same thing, but it's with behavior. There is a learning curve to this new behavior, not only for you learning how to say no, learning when to shut the things off, but also what other people can expect from you. They're going to have to learn that as well. And it doesn't necessarily make sense to apply that to everybody all at once. And the goal would be to kind of set a structure, I think, where this happens over time and those expectations change over time so that it's not shocking to everybody. The best time to do this, honestly, is if you're going to start a new job, right?
Well,
it's
true. Yeah.
Here's the way I work. And that can be part of the negotiation process, or it could be part of the conversation. How do you work? Well, here's how I work. And if you have something that you'd be comfortable with sharing in that way, because I think that's it is going to change behavior through conversation, not just by a change in behavior, right? So obviously this will be a process, but to me, that's an actual type of a tool to start to address this issue.
Discipline.
Yep.
I totally agree with you. And that, I think, is probably one of my biggest laments of my professional career, at least more recently, is just I won't say it's the lack of discipline, but it's the slippage of discipline.
And it's wanting to say yes. Everybody wants to say yes to stuff. And it's 2 months or 3 months away. The answer now is yes. When it actually comes, it's what the hell was I thinking? Why did I say yes?
Yeah.
How many times have you been in that position?
What's funny is that was actually part of the conversation that I was having with her. Is it's one of our biggest problems is our inability to say no. Because what it does is it again goes back to that, setting the expectations. Now, anytime, somebody expects us to do something or asks us to do something, they're expecting the answer to be, yes. And so,
because you've always said yes.
And so when you say no, now it's oh no, what's going to happen now? Kind of dread and woe. And you're just no.
And who's your conscience when it comes to this? For me, it's my wife, right? She's you said no, right? And it's oh no, I said yes. And then I get to deal with her disappointment. But this actually came up this week. I have a good example of this. Somebody asked me to participate in a visioning session for a college of architecture that is going through some retooling right now. They are adding new programs to the curriculum. They're shedding some old ones, and they've got new faculty coming on, and they wanted to kind of do this thing where they all work through some of these things together so they could be on the same page and introduce, why they're doing these shifts to the student body in a solid way, like where they all have each other's backs and they're all saying the same thing that they've all agreed on. They have ownership over it. Sounds amazing, but I don't have time to do that. And my first inclination was, heck yeah, I want to be a part of that. Like I especially want to affect the educational part of our profession so that they're training people for the jobs of tomorrow, not yesteryear, which we see happening all the time. How am I going to do that? Well, it's by participating in things like this. But the timing is not right. I have way too much going on. And I was just really aware of that. I'm like, well, tell me about it, right? Which is kind of my way of not saying no, kicking the can down the road. Well, tell me what your goal. Okay. And then my final question was, okay, so when are you doing this? Oh, well, we're doing it in the next 2 weeks. And I said, I can't do that. So I have to say no. And it's not that I want to say no. And I'm just very open with him. I said, I don't want to say no to this. This sounds like a fantastic thing. I would love to be a part of something like this if the timing was better for me. Mm-hmm. And I cannot tell you how relieved I was after that conversation. And I didn't expect to be relieved. This was kind of surprising to me because guess what? I always say yes whenever somebody asks me to do something, but that's changing. So don't anybody get any ideas. It was so relieving to me because then I talked with my wife after this, my conscience, and I said, I was given this opportunity today. And she said, you said no, right? And I said, yeah, I said no. She's like, oh, thank God. How does she know so much better than I do? Well, I mean, there's multiple answers to that. But it was one of those things where I thought about that as I was saying no, that I was going to have that conversation with her about it and that I was going to get my acceptance through my conversation with her by choosing to turn this other thing down. There's so much psychology going on here. It's crazy, right? But these are the things that we deal with as adulting. Yeah, as we adult. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, oh my God, you're still dealing with this basic stuff, but it's just amazing how pervasive it is. And to your point, like you become soft to it over time. And then when you reenact the strength, people are shocked by it. What is this? Who is this? Who am I talking to? You always say yes. What do you mean?
Yeah.
No?
Like, yeah. Something going on in your life?
Right. What's wrong?
Yeah. I mean,
I think you mean what's right and taking back the control and the discipline.
You're always so, pliable, amenable to like anything that I ask you to do. Like maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. It might be one of the reasons why mental health suffers. There's so many things going on there. Interesting topic for sure. But yeah, I think, if you establish routines help, and routines don't have to be daily. I think it helps if they are, because you have to do something so many times in a row for it to become a habit, right? So discipline does lead to good and bad habits. The lack of discipline can lead to bad habits. Discipline can lead to good habits. I mean, it all depends how you use the tool, but this is all stuff that I think it would be helpful for me to do more of this as well.
I laugh because, I remember making this pact with myself. It's like, when I move, things are going to be different.
You're right.
Still waiting on that.
Still, yeah. You moved.
I moved.
What happened?
Things are not different.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool, man. Well, good luck with the green light.
Right now, it's the red light.
Awesome. Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It'll be green.
No. Yeah. Good luck with that. Thanks for listening. This show is part of the Gable Media Podcast Network. See all the shows at gablemedia.com. That's GABLMEDIA.com. You can help support what we're doing here by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help get the word out, and don't forget to share it with your friends. We'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment on the website at archispeakpodcast.com, where you can find our entire catalog of shows. Talk to you soon.